Hey, what's up guys? I've been playing Magic for a little bit over a week, and I think I collected most of the structure decks. Every day when I hop on the game, there's usually a deck that I can get from doing like a small quest, like summoning 20 monsters or playing 20 spells. So I think I collected most of the decks so far. I don't really know the ban list or what's good or not. So I just took these decks and all the cards I have obtained so far, and I put together a deck that I actually really like. And it was because of this comment right here. As someone who's dabbled in Magic before, pick blue as your deck. Build blue, it's the strongest in spells and traps. The cards are very strong. So I tried all the decks. I tried the fire one, the death one, the blue one, the green one, the land one, and I really did like the blue one. Specifically for these cards right here, they're like low cost bounce cards where it's like I can activate it during my opponent's turn, almost like a quick play spell card, and I can just return their monster to the hand. Now, it doesn't really remove their monster, they can just summon it again next turn. I'm able to establish my board, and then it kind of slows them down, which I really do like. Also, the blue cards are really amazing. Like there's this like super easy to craft blue card called the Modern Age, which kind of grants the deck a little more consistency. You draw a card every turn, you discard one. I think it's really cool, and then it transforms into a monster. Also, just from the blue structure deck, we get this really powerful monster called Cloudkin Seer, where it's when you normal summon it, you can just draw a card. I wanted to summon monsters that draw me cards because I know in Yu-Gi-Oh! Drawing is really powerful, and I don't know how powerful it is in Magic, but just being able to summon a monster and it immediately gets you advantage. There's some really powerful cards in this game, and I'm starting to get a good handle on the rarity system. Halo Fountain, I believe, is one of the more higher rarity cards, and this card is insane. I don't know how good it is in the meta of Magic, but I found it to be extremely powerful. Like I can attack and then I can untap my monsters and draw a card, which gets me immediate advantage, or I can summon a monster who's like a body that can protect me. It's just so cool. I've been loving learning about all the new cards and the strategies, but I'm not quite there yet to learn about the meta yet. I do still kind of want to learn more about the basics, but I think I'm almost done learning about everything there is to know about like summoning monsters, what kind of cards there is, effects, artifacts, stuff like that. I did learn a lot these last couple of days. I did earn a lot of cards as well. And one thing I want to ask you guys is if there's any cards you would recommend me running, not just in this deck, but cards to collect in general. In my first video, I got a really helpful comment by a guy named CC who says, "You're just seeing very low powerful level stuff. The best on-ramp to meta constructed is through drafts. Your main format for competitive constructed, like Yu-Gi-Oh, are Explorer, Historic, and Standard. Only Standard rotates, it's the least powerful format. Alchemy is trash and everybody hates it. Drafting is the best way to play the economy through and acquire wild cards. You need to build a constructed list." Now, that comment is really useful, but there's a lot of information there that I don't quite understand. Like, first off, drafting. I have been collecting some coins, and I know in the store you can buy packs, which I've been highly avoiding buying because I know there's better things you can buy, and I wanted to learn more about what's the best things to buy. Also, I know you can use your coins and enter draft mode. And in draft mode, any cards that you get, you're able to keep them, and also you can kind of get your coins back or whatever you put in initially. I think that's really cool, but I'm very scared to enter draft mode just because I don't really know what's good cards. So like in Yu-Gi-Oh, you have cards like Pot of Greed, Raigeki, or even like Ash Blossom in modern day Yu-Gi-Oh. Like these are really powerful cards that are good, and you can just throw them into any deck, and when you see them in a draft, you probably want them because they're really powerful. But in Magic, I don't really know what's the good cards. I don't really know what's the best cards. So that's something that I'm slowly gonna learn. And I think once I get a better grasp of what's good and bad, then I think I'll put my foot into draft mode. So I just went into the store right now, and I know every day there's like a deal. One of the deals I got 400 gems, which I thought was really cool. And right now I'm seeing a really cool deal for, I think it's card art. I don't believe it's the actual card. I think it's just moving card art, which is still really cool, and I think I'm going to buy it. Now, even if I'm not going to be using this card in the future, I still think it's really cool to just have right now. And the store is really interesting too, because although it has a lot of cosmetics, there's also some really unique stuff you can get. Like, I'm not entirely sure what the historic anthology is. I'm guessing it's a bunch of powerful cards, but I don't really know how powerful they are, you know? I don't want to be investing a lot of my coins or gems into this if it's not good cards that I'm going to be using for like the longevity of the game. So I thought for this video, I would just be taking the duel into alchemy play. And although CC said in the comment that alchemy is trash and everybody hates it, I don't really know what else to play besides alchemy. So I've just been taking my deck into alchemy to finish my daily challenges. So one thing I learned about Magic was that Mulligan kind of is really useful because you can get a random card out of your deck and get one that you don't want in your hand, but you also lose a card in your starting hand. So I don't really know if you should be mulliganing, but I tend to keep all the cards in my hand just because I really do like having the advantage of having more cards. And my deck doesn't really have a turn one play of like, oh, I can summon this monster with 1 mana. So what I tend to do is start doing my plays on turn 2. And that's when I have 2 fields up. I can summon a little bit of my monsters, not all of them. I know this monster is like a legendary creature, which I learned like the last game, which is that I can only control 1 of them. Now, I don't know if I can only control 1 copy of this exact name card, or if I can only control 1 copy of a legendary creature in general, but I mean, this card is really amazing. And another one that I talked about in the deck profile was Modern Age. It lets me go through my deck, and the reason I really like it is because I want to see land. Sometimes when I play this game, I notice, and I think it's called drought in the competitive scene, where you don't see any land at all. And I find that this card does help that a little bit. Now, I think this guy is playing the green structure deck. So I'm guessing alchemy play is like low level play where people take like the basic structure decks and play. Or maybe that's tied to my like ELO or something, or my MMR. I'm not entirely sure. And one thing in the tutorial that it did try to teach was that when you can discard a card, you try to discard lands, right? Because I'm guessing you run a bunch of copies of land that you don't really want to see them. Now, I don't really know if that's correct. In the beginning of the game, I think land is so valuable that like I never want to discard it, but I understand wanting to discard it late game. So I think I'm going to discard Skybridge just because Skybridge, when it's activated, it becomes tapped, so it's kind of useless, while a basic land has the effect where I can just like use it right away. One thing I really do love about Magic though over Yu-Gi-Oh is that the turns don't take like 20 minutes to finish. And now I'm exaggerating when I say 20 minutes, but in Magic it's kind of like back and forth. It's a slow build up where each person gets stronger and stronger. Like, this guy wouldn't have been able to summon his big-ass dinosaur like turn 1. It took him like, I don't know, 5 or 6 turns. That's really, really cool. But I don't really know how it is in the competitive scene. Like, I haven't dipped my foot in there at all, so it could be completely different. But for sure, I'm really liking Magic. I don't know how pay to win it is, but as of right now, with this basic deck, dude, it's super fun. I don't know if I'm going to be winning every game, but I am enjoying myself a lot. And I think Fading Hope would be really useful in order to protect myself. But I can also just do this, search my deck for a monster.
Right.
And that effect is just crazy. So I'm going to be grabbing Cloudseer, and then when Cloudseer summon, I get a draw card. Like, that's insane. This card's just so good. It's so good, in fact, that I didn't really know how good it was until all my opponents just started targeting this one card right away. And maybe they were doing that because like they don't really know what's going on, but I thought that meant that this card's just really important, that you just have to get rid of it as soon as possible. Now my opponent has 4 monsters, 2 cards in hand, and I have 5 cards in hand and 4 monsters. Now his monsters are really, really big, but I'm not really afraid because I have Fading Hope, so if anything goes wrong, I can just bounce his card back to the hand and I don't really have to worry about it. If he doesn't kill me this turn, I think I win. So he's going to be attacking with 2 monsters. This guy has a shield, which means that if he battles, he takes no damage, doesn't get destroyed, which is insane. So I think I'm going to use that for this dude, and I'll take the 5 damage. One thing I can do is I can do this, which I believe gives me like a bunch of things. So first off, I can put a counter on any one of my dudes, and I think this is 4 damage, 8 damage, 10 damage exactly if he's not able to block any of these. I don't think he's going to be able to block any of them. Damage. And yeah, I think this deck's insane. One thing about Magic that I do find extremely overpowered is flying. Like, flying cannot be blocked by monsters without flying or reach. Just inherently, that kind of means that they can attack directly every single turn. So I guess the game kind of balanced them by giving them low defensive stats and not much attack, so they're not super overpowered. I mean, he wasn't able to block any of my attacks. It's kind of strong. But yeah, that's it for the video. Thanks so much for watching. I'm going to be playing each and every day, doing my dailies, earning more cards, and as I learn more about the game, maybe I'll start jumping into draft or other things. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments. But as always, maybe I'll catch you later. Hope you have a great day or night. Peace.